I love Costco. They're nice to me over there.
You love so much about Costco, from the ridiculously big jars of mayonnaise to the sample tables at the end of practically every aisle. But one of the most popular sections of any Costco is the bakery. So here are the top 10 secrets of the Costco bakery you wish you knew sooner. Giant tiramisu. There are some baked goods that are nice and easy to make at home and not worth purchasing when the option of homemade is available, as long as you have even just a little baking ability. However, tiramisu isn't one of them. Making tiramisu is a time-consuming process, and the cost of the ingredients alone can also add up, depending on how many people you are looking to feed with your espresso-soaked mascarpone-layered creation. And even those comfortable in the kitchen might find it a little more complicated than they would like. But did you know that your Costco membership provides you with access to not only a tiramisu cake, but a giant tiramisu cake? This delicious creation weighs in at a wonderful 2.38 pounds and will easily serve you, your guests, and still leave you enough left over to throw in the freezer to enjoy at a later date. Pro tip, slice it up before you freeze it so you can easily grab a slice whenever the craving hits. Also, with the price tag for this large cake coming in at around $16, the cost per serving is pretty spectacular when compared to a made-at-home version. Sounds like a win-win to us. And at that price, as long as you have enough room in the freezer, why not buy two?
Both is good.
Are the sheet cakes coming back?
Don't
what?
give me hope.
In case you haven't been at a Costco lately and/or hadn't heard the sad news, brace yourself. Costco announced a few months ago that they were discontinuing their half-sheet cakes.
I have a lot of questions. Number one, how dare you?
Now, while some of you might wonder why this is even news at all, those of you who have partaken in the sharing of sheet cake will know exactly why this caused such a stir among Costco fans. It was a simple sheet cake, but it was super delicious. It was big, and it wasn't very expensive. There are even multiple examples online of people serving said sheet cakes at their wedding. That's how beloved they were. Well, maybe we can all stop crying in our bulk-bought boxes of Kleenex because there is some hope that the cakes might be coming back.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
Near the end of July, less than 2 months after Costco's announcement, customers at a few Costco locations in California started seeing the sheet cake order sections again. When the news outlets picked up the story, Costco again released the same statement about how the cakes were discontinued, without making any reference to the fact that some stores were taking orders again. What does this all mean? We shall see.
We're waiting.
But it looks like a little sliver of hope that the much-adored bakery item won't be gone forever. Costco Delivers.
Package delivery?
Costco only recently got into the delivery game, and it applies to the baked goods as well as many, if not all, the other items in the stores. One reason the retailer was a little slow to start offering delivery is because people tend to purchase more when they are physically in the store and are much more diligent about purchases when ordering online. But in 2017, they started delivering in the United States, and the following year, Canadians were able to place online orders for delivery as well. In Canada, you can even order uncooked cookie dough from the bakery to make the cookies at home in your own oven.
Can I offer you some cookie dough?
You don't even have to leave your house to get cookies. Because of their size, oftentimes the closest Costco is a bit of a drive away, so having the ability to just order online and have someone drive the stuff to you is an amazing option. There are some restrictions when it comes to delivery, and not all locations offer same-day delivery. However, a simple search on the Costco website will clear it all up and let you know what the options are for your particular location. The one downside to delivery is that you will miss out on all of the in-store free samples, but sometimes there is a price to pay for convenience. So if you don't mind missing out on the full Costco experience, switching to delivery can save you a lot of time and trouble.
I wish this was 2019 where I could just eat samples in the grocery store.
You can order in advance.
I'll go do that 10 steps ahead of you.
So you're throwing a big party and you're going to need a whole lot of baked goods, treats, and sweets. Well, you could just go to Costco the day of the party, grab everything you need, and just leave it at that. However, there are two problems with that. The first one is that you may not be able to find everything you wanted. If you go early in the morning, sure, you might be able to get what you need, but if you go later in the afternoon, chances are you're going to go home empty-handed. The second problem is that if you do find everything you want and take it all, that means there might not be enough for all the other people who show up to Costco later that day hoping to find their favorite baked goods. So instead of being that person, be the person who orders what you need in advance. It's as simple as walking up to the counter and letting them know what you need and when you need it. Generally, they ask that you place your order 48 hours in advance. Some locations may ask for 72 hours. Then when the time comes, you head on down to your favorite Costco and pick it up. You're happy, your party guests are happy, and all of the other Costco customers will be happy as well. I'm just so happy. You can freeze the baked goods.
That's great news.
While we all love the amount of food you get per package at Costco, that bulk can also be a deterrent to purchasing some items because you know you will never finish it all before most of it goes bad. And that can easily be the case with fresh bakery items. And while it's generally understood that freezing baked products isn't always a good idea, they don't often unfreeze back to their tasty selves, it appears that that isn't the case with Costco bakery items. According to various folks online, Costco products actually do freeze well and return to their proper form and taste when thawed. This would make sense given that Costco knows they are selling bulk items. And unless you were a big family or a professional eater, 1 or 2 dozen giant muffins, a huge pack of croissants, and so on aren't all going to be eaten by the best before date.
Best before November 1959. Damn it, Bob.
So now you know, you don't have to stuff your face with baked goods or have a big party in order to make sure you finish everything before they go bad. Just go ahead and freeze them and enjoy them later. This will allow you to save a few bucks in the end, as you won't have to throw away stuff that's gone bad, and the need to restock your pantry with baked goods won't be as frequent either.
Too much bread.
Yes.
Buy frozen or uncooked.
Can I have one of those uncooked ones?
Purchasing the items fresh is the most expensive option when it comes to Costco bakery items. And this makes sense, of course, because, well, it's the freshest and most convenient option. Buy them fresh and everything is done for you. You can even start eating them in the car on the drive home if you want. Don't worry, you're not alone. We all do it. However, if you can wait until you get home and thaw a few items out, then purchasing the goods already frozen is definitely an option you should be considering, especially if you weren't going to finish all the fresh items and plan on freezing some of them anyway. Many of Costco's bakery items are available frozen, and as such, they obviously have a much longer shelf life, which even allows you to purchase more of them if you so desire. As one example online pointed out, a container of fresh cookies comes to about 35 cents per cookie, while the frozen option gets you 19 cents per cookie. That's almost a 50% savings, and all you have to do is thaw them out. And because Costco bakery items do generally thaw nicely and warm up just as tasty as before they were chilled, it is even more worthwhile purchasing them already frozen.
That's a genius move.
Great place to buy bread.
And I bake bread.
When it comes to bulk buying, there are certain items that many people skip right past. Bread seems to be one such item. Unless you have a big family or eating sandwiches for lunch and dinner, there's almost no way to consume all of the bread you could buy at Costco before it went bad. For that reason, most people probably skip the bread section and pick up a loaf here and there when needed from their local grocery store or corner store. But wait, don't ignore the Costco bread any longer. The deals and savings are pretty great. In fact, a couple years ago, one cooking website set out to determine who had the best deals on bread between Costco, Trader Joe's, and Whole Foods. And in pretty much every category, Costco came out on top with the best deals on bakery bread, sandwich bread, rolls, and both hot dog and hamburger buns. And while you might be thinking that a deal is great, but not if most of it is going to go to waste anyway, remember that you can freeze a portion and thaw it out in the future when you want it. There are plenty of great tutorials online to help you figure out the best way to defrost bread so that it returns to its full potential of taste and texture. So you no longer have an excuse not to give this bad boy a chance.
Just give him a chance.
Free cookies for kids. Anyone who has done it knows that grocery shopping with children, or any shopping for that matter, can be a lesson in patience and can easily wear down even the most zen-like parent to their very last nerve. One of the easiest ways to calm a child down as you work your way through the grocery aisles is to give them something to eat.
Here, eat the spaghetti.
Sure, you can break open that snack box, but if you're at Costco, you don't have to dip into your going-to-purchase groceries because the retailer will give your kid a cookie for free. We aren't sure if it's just cookies or any of the baked goods, within reason, of course, but all you have to do is ask and your child shall receive. Now, obviously, this comes with a bit of a catch-22. While the delicious cookie will probably calm your child down for a little while, the sugar will probably start kicking in just as you get back to the car, which means the drive home could be a little intense. If a sugar treat isn't something you want to give your kid, remember that Costco is always giving out free samples of various food items around the store. It shouldn't be hard to find something your child wants to try, and they usually don't mind if you come back multiple times for the same sample.
Free sample?
Costco's social media and website.
I've never seen trending like this.
While most businesses have a website and a social media presence, not all of them provide useful content for both making it worth a follow or a visit. Well, Costco does. Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest. Costco has accounts on all of them, and they are all worth a follow if you are at all interested in some cool tips and tricks from their bakery. Looking for some awesome recipes to make using their bakery items? Visit the Costco website and you will find plenty. Check out some cool breakfast and lunch suggestions using the store's croissants and bagels. Want to make dessert kebabs using churros? Well, there's a recipe for that as well. And since Costco is a great place to purchase bread, buns, and the like, the website is also teeming with awesome sandwich recipes, including a Father's Day breakfast sandwich and a Kirkland signature sub sandwich. A quick browse of the website before your next trip to Costco will give you plenty of great ideas as you browse the aisles. You don't need to aimlessly wander the aisles for hours looking for inspiration on what to eat anymore. All you need is a good internet connection.
Look, our internet connection.
You can return almost anything.
How do you afford all this stuff?
I just return it the next day.
A generous return policy is one of the best ways to keep customers happy and loyal, and Costco is well aware of that fact. So if you purchase anything at Costco, including from the bakery, and you aren't happy with it, just return it. The employees at Costco are instructed to pretty much take anything back that a customer wants to return.
Good afternoon, I'd like to return this merchandise.
And do so with almost no questions asked. You bought a box of big muffins, but you decided that you don't really want them? Return them! You picked up 5 boxes of cookies for a party, but no one showed up and you don't want all those sweets sitting and tempting you from the cupboard? Return them! You picked up a large cake for a dinner party, but half the people at the party had just started the keto diet and couldn't eat it, so there's still half a cake left? Return it! Yes, technically, you actually can return a half-eaten cake, a half-empty bottle of wine, etc. But do you really want to be that person again? Just because you can do something doesn't mean you should. And you should also be aware that while employees are trained to be very open to returns, they are also trained to look out for repeat returners who are obviously just out to take advantage of the permissive policy. You can't just fly under the radar if you've returned that same box of cookies 6 times in the last month. They're going to know, and they could even revoke your membership if the excess returns keep on happening. So try to stick to legit returning only. In the end, it will be good for you and your Costco karma.
Karma.
Oh, I get it.
Stay right here and tap that screen for another great video. First time here? Then hit that subscribe button and ring that notification bell.